go, students, to the homework help video, page 142. Let's go ahead and get started right away. On numbers 1 through 8, they want us to take a look at some graphs that are given there in the book. And of course, if your book is open, you will see they've given us 8 graphs, and they want us to match up these 8 graphs with the correct equation. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with this. I think the best way to do this is to maybe I'm going to go through, I think, very quickly each of these equations here and find the vertex. And I think if I know the vertex of each one of these, that will help us greatly, maybe not completely, but greatly narrow down which graphs go with which equation for the most part, hopefully. Okay, alright, let's start with this one right here. If I have x minus 2 to the second power, that means x minus 2 times x minus 2. So I'm going to find the vertex very quickly by multiplying these two parentheses together. And I will get this right here. Okay? Now, remember how to find, so what I did, students, I took this right side here and I simplified it like this, then simplified it like this, okay? And so now I can very quickly find the vertex, negative b over 2a. My b is negative 4 right here, so I have negative parentheses, negative 4, okay? Negative 4, negative, negative 4, all over 2 times a. A is 1, so 2 times 1. So I end up with positive 4 over positive 2. So I get out of 2, okay? Now if I take 2 and substitute it back into my original equation right here, 2 minus 2 is 0, and 0 squared is 0, so my vertex is 2, 0. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2, comma, 0 right there. Alright, and now we'll continue this for the rest of these problems, okay? So very quickly, number 3, number 2 right here, let's find the vertex. We're going to do it the exact same way. We have x plus 4 times x plus 4, okay? So if you do that quickly, you will come up with this right here. You will get x squared plus 8x plus 16. Not sure why I put a parentheses here, so we'll go ahead and get rid of that. Alright, so there we go. X squared plus 8x plus 16. Now, using negative b over 2a, let's see what we come up with, okay? 8 is my b, and 1 is my a, so negative, and then put a positive 8, negative b over 2 times a, 2 times 1, so negative 8 over 2 is a negative 4. So my x value is negative 4. Now very quickly put a negative 4 in here. Negative 4 plus 4 is 0. 0 squared is 0. So my vertex for number 2 is going to be negative 4, 0. Alright. And let's continue on to number 3. X squared minus 2. So I have negative b over 2a. Notice my a is 1, and there is no b term, so b is going to be 0, okay? So, negative 0 up top, 2 times 1 on the bottom, you end up with 0, okay? So, take that 0, put it back into the original equation. 0 squared is 0 minus 2 is negative 2. So, the vertex for number 3 is 0, comma, negative 2. Alright, quickly taking a look at number 4, we can find the vertex. It is written in general form, so we're going to use negative b over 2a. Notice a is negative 1, but there is no b, so b is going to be 0. This should be pretty simple, guys. Negative 0 up top. And then for a, put a negative 1 because there's a negative 1 in front of the x squared right there. Alright, remember b is always the x term. Whatever the x term is, the coefficient of that term is your b. In this case, there is no x term. There's an x squared term and a constant term, but there is no x term. Okay, so b is 0. So 0 over negative 2 is 0. So I know my vertex so far is 0, comma. Now, put a 0 in for x. 0 squared is 0. 3 minus 0 is 3. So your vertex for number 4 is 0, comma, 3. Alright, moving on to number 5. Okay, this is not written in general form. I have x minus 2 squared, which really means x minus 2 times x minus 2. Okay, so we're going to take care of that very quickly. See this 4 right here, 4 minus. Now please watch this, students. This negative sign goes to everything in the parentheses. So please listen. When you square x minus 2 and you put x minus 2 times x minus 2 and you get out this really long expression, the negative sign stays out here and you keep all this in parentheses because you're going to have to multiply the negative sign through. Every term is going to get that negative sign inside the parentheses. So x minus 2 squared would be x squared minus 4x plus 4. Now take the negative sign and multiply it through. 4 minus x squared plus 4x negative 4. Okay, do you see how we did that? And actually, students, this is so funny what I just did, and I love it when I make a mistake like this. Oh my goodness, don't do it like that. What am I thinking? This is written in standard form. Just rewrite it. Put the negative sign first, and then the parentheses, like this. And then the 4, the positive 4, goes right here. Look at it. It's in standard form. Can't believe I made that mistake. So, remember how to find the vertex? We can find the vertex in just 1 second. Whatever number's inside the parentheses, change the sign. So put a positive 2. Whatever number's out here, do not change the sign. So there's the vertex. There's no work to do on this. That's pretty simple. I really am embarrassed that I almost didn't catch that. Alright, 2 comma 4 will be the vertex. Number 6 is the same way. Number 6 is totally already in standard form. So inside the parentheses we have a positive 1. So for the vertex I'm going to put a negative 1. And then this number here, positive 2, is at the end. So I'll put a positive 2. So the vertex for 6 is negative 1 comma 2. Number 7, guys, exact same thing, look. Exact same thing. It's written in standard form. So the number inside the parentheses, negative 3. I'm going to change it and put a positive 3. This number here on the outside stays the same, negative 2. Now number 8's a little tricky, so watch carefully. Notice everything looks good. I have a parentheses to the second power, correct? Right here, okay? I have an x inside the parentheses with a coefficient of what? 1. Everything looks good, but there's no number on the end. Like in number 6, I had positive negative 2 on the end. Number 7, I had a constant term of negative 2, but there's no constant term, so just put 0 then. There you go, no problem. And now we know the vertex. For the vertex says, well, change the sign of this number inside the parentheses, positive 4, and then pick up this number here and put it right here. So, having done all of that, let's quickly now match up these graphs, okay? So, here we go. Alright, let's take a look first of all at letter A. Letter A. Alright, the vertex is negative 1, negative 2. Now I only see, and actually I don't see any like that, so I'm wondering if maybe, yes, this should have a negative sign right here. As you can see, it's a negative 2. So negative 2. So negative 1, negative 2. So letter A goes right here with number 6. Letter A, alright. Okay, B is 0, negative 2. How many 0, negative 2s do I have? Only 1 right here. So number 3 is B. Alright, let's take a look at letter C here. Letter C is negative 4, 0. And so negative 4, 0. I only have one of those, and it's right here. So number 2 is letter C. Letter D has a vertex of 4, 0. That would match up with number 8. So number 8 is letter D. Alright, let's continue on now to letters E and F. Now it looks like E has a vertex of 3, negative 2 right here. So I'm going to put E right here for number 7. F has a vertex of 2, 4. And there's only 1, 2, 4 right here. So number 5 would be F. And then letter G has a vertex of 2, 0. And that would be this one here. So we're going to call this letter G. Alright. And so the last one here obviously has to be H. And we'll check and make sure that it has a vertex of 0, 3, and it does right there. So moving on, guys, we're just matching up graphs with their equations, not too difficult. And the main thing there was simply to find the vertex and match up the vertex of the equation with the vertex of the given graph, alright? Okay, number 13. On number 13, we are told to sketch the graph of the quadratic function by hand, identify the vertex and any x-intercepts. Okay, so let's see if we can figure this out, alright? Here we go. First of all, to find the vertex, we're going to use negative b over 2a. There is no b term, there's no x term, so I know I'm going to have 0 up top, and your a term is a 1 here in front of the x squared, so 2 times 1, so we're going to get 0, okay? So the vertex so far is 0, comma, and we know it's going to be negative 16, because if you put a 0 in for x squared, 0 times 0, 0 minus 16 is negative 16, okay? Now, so we're doing pretty good so far. We know what the vertex is, so let's take this, let's yank it up here, and put it here, alright? Now, what I've taught you guys to do is to draw a table of values, okay? So, right in the middle you put your vertex. And then I've taught you to go up 1, go up 2, go down 1, go down 2. So put a 2 in, and trust me, you'll get a negative 12. Put a negative 2 in, square it, that's 4. You'll get a negative 12. Put a 1 in, and you'll get negative 15. Put a negative 1 in, square it, you get 1. Minus 16 is negative 15, okay? So if you were to plot these points, you will definitely get a parabola. And I'm not going to take them and plot those 5 points for you, except to say that obviously 0, negative 16 would be way down here somewhere. And then of course 1, negative 15 is here. Negative 1, negative 15 is here, and so on and so forth. You'll get the parabola. Okay, not a very good picture of it, but if you'll plot these 5 points, you'll get the parabola. But they also set the directions to identify the x-intercepts. So in other words, they want to find where the x-intercepts are. Now we know how to do this, guys. You've learned this since Algebra 1. When you're looking for the x-intercepts, put 0 in for what? Y. When you're looking for the y-intercepts, put 0 in for what? X. So I'm going to put 0 in for y, and I'm going to solve. Okay, bring the 16 over and make it a positive 16. And now take the square root of both sides. So you put 0 in for y, and you solve for x. Now you know the x and y intercepts, so you know this graph is going to be it starts way down here, and starts curling up, okay? Like this. You know it's going to cross the x-axis at where? 4 and negative 4, okay? Looks like a smiley face, doesn't it? Little eyebrows there, yep. Alright, I've been spending way too much time on the mimeopad. Alright, let's continue on. Now, let's take a look at number 17. Alright, the vertex is really easy to find. This thing is written in standard form, so right off the bat we know the vertex is. Oh, by the way, how do I know it's in standard form? Let's check and see. Do I have a parentheses raised to the second power? Yes. Inside the parentheses, is it a first degree expression? Yes, it is. Okay. What is the coefficient of the x? 1. Yes, we're good. So we have a quadratic function. Now, the vertex always change the number, always change the sign of the number inside the parentheses. So put a negative 5. Do not change the sign of the number on the outside. So just like that, we know the vertex. Okay. Pretty cool. So right in the middle, negative 5, negative 6, going up, negative 4, negative 3, going down, negative 6, negative 7. Alright, negative 3, put a negative 3 in, that's 2, 4, I'm getting a negative 2. Let's put negative 7 in, and see if I get negative 2. Negative 7 plus 5 is negative 2. When you square negative 2, you get 4. 4 minus 6 is negative 2. Okay, let's put a negative 4 in. Negative 4 plus 5 is 1. And 1 squared is 1, minus 6 is negative 5, and you'll also get a negative 5 here. If you put negative 6 in, negative 6 plus 5 is negative 1, but when you square a negative 1, you get a positive 1, and 1 minus minus 6 is negative 5. So if you were to graph this, you would get a parabola, okay? And I need you to do that in your homework. You need to go ahead and graph this, okay? But I'm not going to take time to do that on the homework help video. It's pretty much Algebra 1 type of work to plot points and draw the graph. However, we're not quite done. Don't forget the directions also asked us to find the x-intercepts. So where the y is, I'm going to put a 0. And now we're going to solve for x. So bring this negative 6 over and make it a positive 6. And now students, think about it. We have a group raised to the second power. So if I want to get rid of this 2 right here, that'd be really nice. I'm going to take the square root, okay, of something squared. Just like, guys, just like when you have x squared equals 5, how do you get rid of this squared? You take the square root of it, correct? Well, it's the same thing when you have a group that's squared. Take the square root of it. But if you take the square root of one side, you must take the square root of the other side. So we get plus minus square root of 6. And when you square a group that's squared, you just get what's left, what's on the inside, x plus 5. Okay, now bring the 5 over and make it a negative 5. And now let me grab my calculator real quickly, if I have it close by, and I'm not sure that I do. I'm trying to see if I have it. Okay, students, I'm back. I found my calculator. What I'm going to do is I'm going to type in my calculator square root of 6, okay? Square root of 6 is 2.449. I'm going to put 2.4, so I really have a positive 2.4 minus 5, and then a negative 2.4 minus 5, okay? So 2.4 minus 5 is going to give you a negative 2.5 or 2.6. Alright, now here, negative 2.4 minus 5 would give you a negative 7.4, okay? Now, those are your x-intercepts, okay? And so we're done with the problem. We found the vertex like they want us to do. We did not actually graph the equation like they want us to, but we got a really nice table of values set up. You can graph that on your own. And then we found the x-intercepts. So we know this graph is going to cross the y-axis at negative 2.6 and negative 7.4. Okay? Alright, let's go ahead and continue on. Okay, students, moving on to number 19. Let's go ahead and first of all find the vertex. Actually, let's see here. Yes, we'll find the vertex first. So, negative b over 2a. Where the negative 8 is, we'll put a b. And where the a is, we'll put a 1. So, negative, and then negative 8. And then 2 times 1. Okay? So, negative times negative is a positive 8. 2 times 1 is 2. And 8 divided by 2 is 4. So the vertex so far is 4, comma, blank, okay? Now if you put a 4 in over here, 4 times 4, 4 times 4 is 16, negative 8 times 4 is negative 32, plus 16, you get 0. 16 plus 16 is 32, minus 32 is 0. So your vertex is going to be 4, comma, 0, okay? Now, let's go and get a table of values here. So my vertex is 4, comma, 0. Put it right here in the middle. And now we'll go up to 3, up to 2. Go up to 5, up to 6, down to 3 and 2. Okay, put a 6 in, you'll get 36 minus 48 plus 16 would give us, I think, I'm doing it in my head, but it looks like a positive 4. I hope that's right. Positive 4. Let's put a 2 in real quick. Let's put this 2 in and see if we get a positive 4, okay? 2 times 2 is 4. This would be negative 16 plus 16. Yes, we get positive 4. Okay, let's go ahead and put a 5 in. So we have a 25 here, a negative 4 let's put 3 in and see if we get out a 1. 3 times 3 is 9. This will be a negative 24 plus 16. Let's see. 9 minus 24 is negative 15 plus 16 is 1. So yes, it does work. So we have a really nice table of values. Plot those points and you'll get a really good graph. Here's the vertex. Okay, now let's quickly find the x-intercepts. Okay, remember to put 0 in for y. So 0 equals x squared minus 8x plus 16. Okay, well guys, I think we can factor this. Yes, we can. What two numbers multiply together give me 16? When added together, give me negative 8. And actually, it's kind of funny. I'm just not saying things very quickly tonight. But look, I already found the x-intercept over here. When I put a 0 in for y, what did I get out? 4. So the vertex is actually the x-intercept where the graph lies. But we'll go ahead and finish this over here. I have no problem doing that. So I put a 0 in for y, and now I'm going to factor this side over here. Negative 4 and negative 4. If you multiply those two numbers together, you'll get 16. If you add them together, you'll get negative 8. So x minus 4, x minus 4. Now take this group, set it equal to 0 and solve, and you get x equals 4. Same thing with this group. Take this group, set it equal to 0 and solve, and you'll get 4. So 4 is the x-intercept, alright? Okay, number 27. Let's go ahead and graph this. Now, I would like to give you a suggestion here. Maybe. I wasn't sure if it would be nice to get rid of this fraction and maybe multiply everything by 4. But to be honest with you, you have to be really careful doing that, students, because you have to also multiply this side over here by 4 also. Excuse me for yawning, and I don't think you really want to get into that, okay? So we're just going to leave it like it is, and we're going to start off with negative b over 2a, alright? So b is a negative 2, so I have a negative sign, and then negative 2 for b. For a, I have 2 times 1/4, alright? So here's what we get out, a positive 2 over 1/2, because 2 times 1/4 is 1/2. 2 over 1 times 1 over 4 is 1/2. Now we have 2 divided by 1/2. 2 divided by 1/2, which is the same thing as 2 times 2 over 1. You flip the fraction and multiply it. So 2 divided by 1/2 does give you 4, okay? So the vertex so far is going to be 4. Now, we're going to put a 4 in for x. 4 times 4 is 16. 1/4 times 16 is 4. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. And then negative 12, okay? So we're going to get a negative 16. So the vertex is 4, comma, negative 16. Alright? Now, moving on. Let's go ahead and get our table of values set up very quickly here. Here in the middle, we're going to put 4, negative 16, and then we'll go up to 5, up to 6, down to 3, down to 2, alright? And I'm not going to take a lot of time and work these out for you guys, because really it's just calculator work. A lot of these I can do in my head. With the fraction being there, it's going to be difficult to do a lot of these values in my head. Some I will be able to, and some I won't, okay? But, I'm not going to take time and do all the work for you, but let's go ahead and put a 6 in for your x squared here, okay? So if I put a 6 in, I really have 1/4 times 6 squared minus 2 times 6, and then minus 12, okay? Now, if you simplify correctly, when you put 6 in for x, you're going to get out negative 15. Alright? And the same thing for 2 also. Alright? If you put 2 in correctly and simplify, you're going to get negative 15. I will do one of these for you, and the rest you're on your own, okay? Alright, you square the 6 first. Please do not multiply the 1/4 times the 6 first. That is incorrect. you do your powers first. So you really have 1/4 times 36, and then minus 12, minus 12. Now 1/4 times 36 is 9, so 9 minus 12, minus 12 does give you negative 15. Okay, so there we go. But I'm not going to do these for you over and over. You guys are big pre-cal students. If I could do it in my head, I would do it quickly in my head, but I cannot do that. So if you put 5 in for x squared, and put 5 in for x all the way through here, and simplify, you're going to get out negative 15.75. Negative 15.75. And the same thing for 3 also. Negative 15.75. So students, we have a really nice table of values here. You can sketch the graph on your own. We have the vertex here. The only thing we're missing are the x-intercepts. So if you want to find the x-intercepts, put 0 in for y. So 0 equals 1/4 x squared minus 2x minus 12. Now, for me, I don't want this fraction here. I really don't. So I'm going to multiply every term by 4 because my denominator is 4, and that'll get rid of this fraction right here. And students, I'm allowed to multiply an equation by anything as long as I do it to each term. So 0 times 4 is 0. 1/4 times 4 is 1. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. And negative 12 times 4 is negative 48. So hopefully I can factor this and get my x-intercepts very quickly. What two numbers multiply together give me negative 48, but when add together give me a negative 8. Well, I'm thinking these two numbers right here. If you multiply those two numbers together, you get a negative 48. If you combine them, you get a negative 8. So the factorization is x minus 12x plus 4. Okay? Now, take this group, set it equal to 0 and solve, and you'll get 12. Take this group, set it equal to 0 and solve, and you'll get negative 4. Okay? So there are your two x-intercepts for this problem, 12 and negative 4. Pretty wide parabola. Alright, number 29. We're now into the section where we're allowed to use our graphing calculator. So really, this is amazingly easy. Amazingly, amazingly easy. Alright? So here we go. Let me grab my calculator here and go to my window, clear out my equations, negative sign, then parentheses, and then x squared plus 2x minus 3, close the parentheses, and then go to my window, make sure I'm in a standard window, and let's see what I get. Okay, there it is. So my graph looks something like this, okay? I've got a vertex somewhere about right here, and it looks like this, okay? If you've typed it in correctly, you're getting the same thing, okay? Alright, now, so what they want us to do in the directions, they tell us to find the vertex and the x-intercepts, okay, by using our calculator. So let's start with the vertex first, okay? Please listen to me. Is that vertex a maximum or a minimum? Well, it's a maximum point, and I taught you guys how to find maximum points on graphs, okay? You hit second calculate, okay, or second trace or second calculate, and you'll see option number 4 is maximum. So I hit enter on that. Then I go to the left bound. I make sure my cursor is somewhere over here. I hit enter. Then it says right bound. So I use my right arrow key and make sure the cursor is somewhere over here somewhere. Hit enter. Then it says guess, and I hit enter, and it's giving me this for the vertex. Negative 1, positive 4. Negative 1, positive 4. So there's the vertex. Now, we gotta find the zeros, okay? So, once again, or the x-intercepts, go to your second calculator, or your second trace, and you'll see option number 2 says 0. Hit enter on that. Now your cursor is already somewhere in here, so we have to go left bound first. So let's find this 0 first, okay? So your cursor should be somewhere over here, which is already to the what? To the left of this x-intercept here. So if it's saying left bound and your cursor is somewhere over here, just go ahead and hit enter, it's fine. Now you have to move your cursor all the way way past this and be somewhere over here for the right bound. So move your cursor past the x-intercept, hit enter. Then it says guess, enter again, and I'm getting 1, 0. So this vertex is 1, 0. Now we're going to do the same thing for this 0 over here. So hit second, calculate, option number 2, and then it says left bound. So we got to get this cursor way over here to the left side of what you're trying to find, and what you're trying to find is this x-intercept. So I need the cursor to be way over to the left of this point. So I've got to hold my left arrow down button for quite a while. And there we go. Hit enter, and then scroll back up to the right bound, which would be up here somewhere. Hit enter, and then guess, hit enter again, and I'm getting negative 3, 0. So there's the other x-intercept, okay? Negative 3, 0. Alright, let's take a look at number 31. Number 31. Okay, once again, students, we're going to quickly just type it into our calculator. So x squared plus 8x minus or plus 11. Hit graph. And the graph should look something like this. Here's the coordinate plane. The vertex looks like it's about right here. And the parabola comes down like this. Hits here. And goes back up. Okay, so there we go. So first of all, let's find the vertex. Is that vertex a maximum or a minimum point on this graph? Obviously a minimum point. So I'm going to go to second calculations, go down to minimum, hit enter, go to left bound. So make sure my cursor's over here to the left side. Hit enter. Now for right bound, make sure your cursor's somewhere over here to the right of the point. Hit enter. And then guess, hit enter again, and I'm getting negative 4, negative 5. So the vertex is negative 4, comma, negative 5. Now, let's find this x-intercept here. So, I'm going to second calculations. Option number 2 says zeros. Make sure you move your cursor all the way to the left of this x-intercept. Hit enter. Now move your cursor back over here to the right side of this x-intercept. The right side would be somewhere over here. Hit enter, and then for guess, hit enter again, and we're getting something like negative 6.2. Negative 6.2, comma, 0 for this x-intercept, okay? Now let's take a look at this x-intercept over here. First of all, second calculate, down to 0, hit enter, left bound, make sure you're to the left of this point, somewhere over here. And then as for right bound, make sure you go way over here to the right bound. To the right of this x-intercept, hit enter, then it says guess, hit enter again, and you're getting negative 1.763932, so negative 1.80. So negative 1.8, comma, 0 for this x-intercept here. Alright, let's take a look now at number 33. Number 33. Okay, students, let me go to my calculator and clear out my last equation. And I'm going to enter this new equation, 2x squared minus 16x plus 31. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and hit graph. And the graph is looking something like this. The vertex is about right here, and it comes down barely below the x-axis, and then shoots back up again, okay? So first of all, let's find the vertex, which is right here. Is that vertex a minimum or a maximum point? Well, it's a low point way down here at the bottom of the graph. It's a minimum, okay? So hit second calculations, and then option number 3 for minimum. Make sure you're on the left side. And then hit enter. So make sure you're somewhere over here on the left side. Hit enter. Then scroll it to the right side and hit enter. And I'm getting guess, so I hit enter. And I'm getting negative, no, 4, negative 1. So 4, negative 1, okay, for the vertex. Now, let's find the x-intercepts here and here, okay? So here we go. Let's go to second calculate, and let's go to option number 2, which is zeros or x-intercepts. I'm going to move to the left of this x-intercept, so somewhere over here. Then hit enter, and then move it to the point over here to the right of that X-Intercept. Hit enter, and now hit enter again for guess, and I'm getting 3.20. So this X-Intercept here would be 3.2. Okay, now for this point over here, well, let's go ahead and hit second calculation, and then go down to 0, number 2 zeros, stroll all the way over with your cursor to somewhere over here to the left of this point right here. Hit enter, then move to the right, hit enter, and then hit enter on guess, and you get negative 4.7. Okay, so no, positive 4.7. Sorry about that. Positive 4.7. Okay. Alright, moving on to numbers 37 and some other numbers. We're now going to write the quadratic equation. So remember I taught you, we start off with our model. Okay, now the vertex is 1, 0. There's the vertex. So we know when we go to enter this, we're going to change the sign of the number inside the parentheses. It's a positive 1, so I'm going to put a negative 1. Quantity squared plus for k, I'm going to put a 0. Alright. Now, what I did there is I took the vertex 1, 0, and I substituted or plugged it into this model. Now all I have to do, students, is take this other order pair right here and substitute those values in for x and y so that I can see what a is. Okay, so for y I'm going to put a 1, for x I'm going to put a 0, and now let's simplify. 0 minus 1 is negative 1, negative 1 squared is 1, 1 times a is a, so all of this came out to 1a, or a plus 0 equals 1. So a equals 1. So students, all that you have to do is grab this a right here, slide him down there, and put a 1 right there, okay? And there we have it, alright? There is our quadratic equation written in standard form using this information here. Alright, number 39, we'll go a little faster now, the exact same thing. They give us the vertex, so we're going to quickly plug our vertex in. Y equals, then a, and then x, and then my number here is a negative 1, so I'm going to put a positive 1. Quantity squared, this is a positive 4. I'm going to leave a positive 4, so there. I substituted my vertex in to the equation. Now I've got to solve for a. Now, here's the problem. You students are like, well, Mr. Earhart, do I use this point here or this point here? Well, if you've got a little extra time, try it both ways and you'll see it doesn't matter. You get the same answer either way. I'm going to use this point here, okay? So where the y is, I'm going to put a 0 because this is my x, this is my y. And for my x, I'm going to put 1. So 1 plus 1, quantity squared, plus 4, okay? Now, we're going to multiply or simplify here, then multiply it times a. So 1 plus 1 is 2. When you square the 2, you get 4. 4 times a is 4a. So 0 equals 4a plus 4. Now bring the 4 over and make it a negative 4. Negative 4 equals 4a. Alright. Divide both sides by 4. And negative 1 equals a. Alright. Negative 1 equals a. So, way up here in your original problem, right here, put a negative 1 right here, or just put a negative sign. If you want to put the 1, you're welcome to, but you don't need to. You just put the negative sign if you want to. Okay, so there it is, guys. We're just writing quadratic equations. 2 left and we're done, okay? Alright, here we go. So we have the vertex, and we have a point that the graph passes through. So take the vertex, and we're going to plug that in, or substitute that in. So here we go, x plus 2, okay? Quantity squared, because there's a negative 2 here, and then plus 5, alright? Now, we've got to see what a is, so we're going to take this ordered pair here, x and y, and substitute these in. So for y I have a 9, and for x I have a 0. And here we go. Let's see, we're going to multiply. We're going to add these two, and then square it, and then multiply it times a. So 0 plus 2 is 2. When you square the 2, you get 4. So 4a. 4a plus 5. Alright, now bring the 5 over and make it a negative 5. We're going to solve for a now. And you're left with 4 equals 4a. Divide by 4, and you get 1. So a equals 1. So right up here in your first equation that you wrote, if you want to erase that a and put a 1 here, you can. Alright. Okay, there we go. One more problem. Number 49. Alright. So, we know this is the vertex right here, and this is the other pair. So for the vertex, I'm going to put y equals a, and then x plus 1/4. You got to change the temperature thinking, okay? Not that, hold on 1 second, not temperature. You've got to change the sign of the negative 4 here and make it a positive, the negative 1/4, and make it a positive 1/4, and don't forget to square it, okay? Now we're going to add 3/2 right here. You don't change the sign, okay? Alright, now let's go ahead and square, let's go ahead and find out what a equals. We took our vertex and we substituted in. Now we're going to put negative 2 in for x and 0 in for y. So 0 for y, and for x I'm going to put negative 2. Negative 2 plus 1/4. That'll be interesting. Plus 3/2. Okay, now let's see what happens here. First of all, I've got a negative 2 plus 1/4. So that's going to give me 1 3/4 negative. So really I have negative 1 3/4 inside the parentheses. Negative 2 plus a 4 is negative 1 3/4. Well, negative 1 3/4 is really negative 7/4. Okay, so let's go over this again. Negative 2 plus a 4 is negative 1 3/4. Negative 1 3/4, when you change to an improper fraction, is negative 7/4. So we really have negative 7/4 squared. So when you square this, 7 times 7 is 49. And 4 times 4 is 16. And of course the negative sign's gone, because when you square a negative sign, negative times a negative is positive. So, unless I've made a mistake somewhere, and I hope that I haven't, inside, when I took negative 2 plus 1/4, I got 1 3/4, I squared it. So now I multiply this by a, so I really have 0 equals 49/16 a, and then plus 3/2, okay? Now, let's go ahead and bring the 3/2 over and make it a negative 3/2. So negative 3/2 equals 49/16a. So we're going to divide both sides by 49/16. So students, I really have negative 3/2 divided by 49/16. Alright, well, we know we got to flip the second fraction. So we really have negative 3/2 times 16 over 49. Alright, well, let's see. 2 would cancel into 16 8 times. Alright, leaving me with negative 16 over 49. Alright, no, I'm sorry, negative 24. Negative 24 over 49. So a equals negative 24 over 49. Okay, now I'm trying to think if that can be reduced, but I'm pretty sure that it can't be. So 24 divided by 49, yeah, it cannot be reduced. So a equals negative 24 over 49. So I'm going to erase all of this, erase all of that, erase that, try to erase that, and now, but here's the problem with getting old. I forget what I had. I had negative 24 over 49. Okay, negative 24 over 49. So, let's grab this, slide it over here. Let's grab this and put it right up here. looks a little better. And there we go, guys. Okay, so that's it. I hope this homework help video has been a help to you. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to call or email.